Today's video is a special tribute to Oliver Tree, a truly talented artist whose unique approach to music captured the hearts of fans around the world. We are honoring his remarkable courage, his extraordinary talent, and the meaningful contributions he made to the music industry through his creative work and distinctive personality. Oliver Tree brought a bold and innovative spirit that made him stand out, leaving a lasting impression on everyone who listened to his songs. Before we proceed with his story, please take a second to like this video as a sign of remembrance. It means a lot to our community. Thank you for joining us today. Now let's begin this heartfelt tribute to his amazing life and legacy. Oliver Tree. Nickel was born on June 29, 1993 in Santa Cruz, California, into a world that most people would consider unusual. His parents, Jesse Louis Nickel III and Christine Marie Begin, were traveling circus performers. For much of his childhood, he did not live in a house. He lived in a mobile motorhome, traveling across the United States with a family whose entire life was built around movement and performance. Musical instruments lined the walls of that vehicle. His childhood was not a traditional one. It was a childhood surrounded by creativity before he was old enough to walk, by performance before he understood what performance was. At 3 years old, he started taking piano lessons. At 4, he was already writing original compositions. By the time he turned 6, he claimed to have written an entire album. The circus taught him to perform in front of an audience. The motorhome taught him that creation could happen anywhere, in any small space, surrounded by family. When he was 12 years old, his family finally settled permanently in Santa Cruz. He had spent most of his childhood in motion, and now, for the first time, he had a fixed address. But the movement had already shaped him. The performance had already become part of how he understood himself. In middle school, Oliver picked up a guitar. He sang. He joined a local ska band called Irony, which gave him his first experiences performing live in front of audiences that were not his family. The ska gave way to something else when he reached high school: electronic music, hip-hop. He became a DJ performing under the name Kryph, focusing on dubstep production. He collaborated with a future electronic producer named Getter and a local artist called Minnesota. By 17, performing as Kryph, he had already secured slots at electronic music festivals like Wobbleland 2011 in San Francisco. He was building something in the underground, something that had not yet reached the world's attention, but was already becoming undeniable to anyone paying attention. In 2013, at just 20 years old, he signed with a London-based label called R&S Records. He released a debut EP titled Demons. The release gained some attention, particularly after Radiohead's lead singer Tom York publicly approved of his cover of Karma Police. But the attention was still limited to a circle of people who understood electronic music deeply. He took a hiatus. He went back to school, studying music technology at the California Institute of the Arts. In 2016, he made his television debut on Last Call with Carson Daly. And then, in October of that same year, something changed. A collaboration with D.J. Wethan called When I'm Down went viral. Not gradually, not slowly, viral. The song accumulated millions of streams. It reached people who had never heard of electronic music or indie artists or anything underground. Atlantic Records noticed. He signed immediately. The underground had become visible. The boy from the motorhome was about to become a global phenomenon. In 2018, Oliver released the Alien Boy EP. He wrote and directed all of the music videos himself. For one of them, he spent 5 months at the Paris Auto Speedway learning to perform freestyle monster truck jumps. He did the stunts himself. He was not a musician who hired other people to realize his vision. He was a creator who would learn anything, go anywhere. do anything to make the vision real. He created a persona called Turbo, a character that existed somewhere in the space between absurdist comedy and genuine artistry, and nobody could quite tell which side it was closer to. That ambiguity was intentional. That refusal to be easily categorized was the entire point. In 2020, he released his debut studio album, Ugly is Beautiful. The album included platinum-certified singles, Alien Boy, Hurt, Miracle Man, Let Me Down. He had crossed over from underground artist to mainstream success without diluting his vision. His visual identity became unmistakable across every platform. The bowl haircut, the oversized, colorful jackets, the baggy pants, the sunglasses that changed by the season. But the moment that defined a generation came in 2021. Life Goes On became a viral TikTok phenomenon. Millions of clips, people lip-syncing, people dancing, people creating with his song as the foundation. He had created something that seemed designed to be absurdist, to be funny, to not be taken seriously. And somehow, it became the song that millions of people turned to when they needed to feel understood. He performed at Coachella, Lollapalooza, Outside Lands. By 2022, Oliver Tree was not a viral moment. He was a legitimate cultural force that nobody quite knew how to categorize. He released a second album, Cowboy Tears, in 2022, then a third, Alone in a Crowd, in 2023. For that album, he took on the persona of a fictional fashion designer named Cornelius Cummings. He was constantly evolving, constantly refusing to stay in one place, one genre, one identity. It was as if the boy who grew up traveling in a motorhome had never learned how to stop moving. In 2024, he collaborated with Diplo on a song called Ultraman for a film. In 2025, he released singles called Superhero and Joyride that would become part of his fourth album. In October 2025, he performed at Red Rocks. He played Ugly is Beautiful in its entirety. His visual signature was still unmistakable. The bowl cut, the oversized jacket, the commitment to being entirely himself, regardless of what the industry expected from him. And then, in April 2026, he made a decision that changed everything. He left Atlantic Records. He launched his own independent record label called Alien Boy Records. For the first time in his career, he had complete control, complete creative freedom, complete independence. On April 24th, 2026, he released Love You Madly, Hate You Badly Independently. 17 songs, created over 2 years, recorded on 7 continents, in 80 countries. This was not just an album, this was a statement. This was an artist saying that he had reached the point where he could create exactly what he imagined, exactly how he wanted to create it, without anyone telling him otherwise. In May 2026, he announced the world's first world tour, 70-plus shows, across 30 countries, all 7 continents. The tour that would have taken him everywhere, the tour that would have been the culmination of everything he had been building toward since he was 3 years old and started taking piano lessons in a motorhome. The first show was May 30th, 2026, in Mexico City. He was still moving, still performing, still traveling, just like his parents had taught him. On the morning of June 14th, 2026, there was a helicopter collision in the southwest region of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Oliver Tree, age 32, was on that helicopter. Also killed were Argentine YouTuber Gaspar Prim, passengers Lucas Vignal and Lucas Brito Chavez, and pilots Alexandre Souza and Charles Marcillac. CNN Brazil confirmed the deaths. Authorities had his name on the passenger list, though initially they had not been able to identify all of the bodies. But it was confirmed. The boy from the Circus motorhome, the underground DJ, the viral sensation, the independent artist who had just achieved complete creative control, was gone. He was supposed to continue the tour. 70 more shows were scheduled. The summer had just begun. August 21st and 22nd, he was supposed to play in Santa Cruz and Oakland. He was coming home. The world that had learned Oliver Tree's visual absurdism, his emotional honesty, his refusal to fit into any existing category, suddenly had to exist without him. 6.9 million YouTube subscribers saw the notifications. 16.4 million TikTok followers began seeing tributes immediately. 11 million Spotify monthly listeners started replaying his catalog. The platforms that had made him visible to the world were now making visible the fact that he was gone. A life that began in motion in a traveling circus ended in a moment in the sky. The full circle was there if you were willing to see it. Oliver Tree left behind proof that category-defying work can find a global audience. He left behind songs that were simultaneously jokes and deeply honest, that made millions of people feel less alone in their own refusal to fit into expected molds. He left behind a visual identity so specific that it became instantly recognizable across billions of social media accounts. A bowl haircut, an oversized jacket, sunglasses that changed by the season, a refusal to look normal, a message embedded in every visual choice. You don't have to be normal to matter. He left behind 16.4 million TikTok followers who discovered him through short-form video and found something in his absurdism that reflected their own refusal to fit into expected categories. He left behind music videos that he directed himself, stunts that he performed personally, and the proof that complete creative control was possible. He left behind the independence he had fought for. His departure from Atlantic Records to build Alien Boy Records became a final statement about what it meant to own your own work, to own your own vision, to answer to nobody but yourself. His parents were circus performers. He grew up in a motor home traveling across America. His final tour would have spanned 7 continents. In 32 years, he had lived more fully, created more boldly, and refused more conventions than most artists get to in a lifetime. What remains is the proof that it was possible, that a boy from Santa Cruz could build something global, that you don't have to fit the mold to matter, that the most important thing is to keep moving, keep creating, keep being entirely yourself. The paradox closes in a way that feels almost too perfect. A boy born traveling across America in a circus motorhome died while traveling the world as a global phenomenon. A life that began in motion ended in motion, just not the way anyone expected. What Oliver Tree left behind will not disappear. The songs will keep playing. 16.4 million followers will keep sharing his videos. New listeners will keep discovering life goes on for the first time and finding something in it that they didn't know they were looking for. The music will keep reaching people who will never know that Oliver Tree isn't still out there creating, still out there performing, still out there refusing to fit into any existing category. What Oliver Tree song meant the most to you? Was it Life Goes On, the song that made millions feel less alone? Was it Miss You with Robin Schulz, reaching you at a specific moment when you needed it? Or was it something deeper in the catalog that only you know about? Drop it in the comments below. We read every single one. And if this story stayed with you, make sure you check out our other tributes on the Untold story, because we honor artists like Oliver Tree, who refused to be categorized, who insisted on creating exactly what they imagined, and whose influence will keep growing long after they are gone. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a story that deserves to be told.